forward to it. Got 1 more minute left before I bring Charlie Ward in and take it from there. But it's gonna be a great show. Tune in, get ready, man. It's gonna be a great one. So it's great to be back on the show once again for the Rashad Show live on Josh Radio, 258th episode of the Rashad Show. So that's basically it, man. Got 1 minute left before I bring him in, and that's that. So stay tuned. So it's great to be back in the studio, and like I said, it's gonna be a great story. It's gonna be told. I'm just looking forward to hearing what he got to say about his career, everything, man. It's gonna be a wonderful, wonderful time. And here it is. It's 2:15 right now. So I'm gonna bring in former Heisman Trophy winner, two sports athlete, played basketball for Florida State, played for football for Florida State. I think he also played baseball, going to the research, played in the NBA from New York Knicks, the San Antonio Spurs, and Houston Rockets. Let's hear it for Charlie Ward. Welcome to the Rashad Show. Charlie Ward.
Thank you, Rashad, for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming on. All right, let's get into it, man. Where were you born? Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Thomasville, Georgia, which is a small town in South Georgia, about 45 minutes from Tallahassee. So not very far from Tallahassee, but there are a lot of pros that come from Thomasville. So we've been blessed to have some talent there. Not just athletes, but major professionals as well. So happy.
Okay, so growing up, who were your role models? Who were your influential people that influenced you to do what you do?
Well, my parents were great role models. My dad was a coach. My mom was an educator. And they raised us to, love and respect others. And so, my dad was a hard worker. Both my parents were hard workers. And they gave us, a great example of what it means to be successful in their way. So they were role models, and I had a bunch of coaches that helped me as well. My little league, my middle school, my high school coaches. Those were my role models because they taught me a lot, through the choices that I made, and gave me opportunities to learn through my experiences in sports, teaching as well. Taught me about discipline, and then making sure that I took my academics seriously so that I could, have opportunities to be the athlete that they saw that I was capable of being. So I had quite a few role models growing up. We watched a lot of sports as well, and Roger Staubach, Manny White, O.J. Simpson, Walter Payton, Franco Harris. All those were some of my football role models. Andy Tony, Dr. J. Matt, during those times is when, they were top, and they were always on the television screen. So I enjoyed, watching them and going outside and wanting to be like them.
Okay, so when you were in high school, like, other than football, what other sports did you play other than football?
Of course, basketball. And, I ran track 1 year, and I played baseball 1 year. I would have probably played baseball more than 1 year, but I got hurt my freshman and sophomore spring years. So I wasn't able to play baseball or run track. And so I was blessed to be able to have those experiences my last 2 years in high school.
Okay, so now let's move forward to the college years. Obviously went to Florida State. Talk about the schools that recruited you other than Florida State, that reached out to you and and wants you to come to their school to play, college football, and as well as basketball, if that's the case. Talk about that.
Well, there are a lot of schools that sent letters. Back then, it was letters, and it's not the same as today. But there are a lot of schools that sent letters, basketball and football. But it came down to Georgia Tech, and Florida State. Auburn, they stopped recruiting me at the end, like a couple weeks before signing day, because I think they had a quarterback in that class, or they're comfortable with who they had, or maybe they felt like they didn't have a chance or whatever. I don't know. They weren't an option at the end. But it came down to Georgia and Florida State. My buddy Sean Jones chose to go to Georgia Tech, so that was why Georgia Tech was off the list. And essentially it came down to Coach Bowden allowing Brad Johnson to play basketball. He was a quarterback at Florida State, and he allowed Brad Johnson to go out and play basketball. And so that was really the side factor. Outside of it also being close to my hometown, and just that the coach got allowing Brad Johnson the opportunity to go play basketball, because that's something I wanted to do in college, and I was going to go where it had been done. But Georgia was, they were saying I could do it, but they hadn't had any history on their side of allowing guys to do that. So I chose to go to Florida State and live with the consequences.
Okay, who recruited you? Was it Bobby Bowden or was it somebody else other than Bobby Bowden?
Coach McDuffie started recruiting me, and then he turned it over to Coach John Easton. Coach McDuffie, the late Coach McDuffie, he was really the biggest advocate for me going to Florida State, and so I was grateful for him stepping up to the plate to be an advocate for me in the recruiting room. And I'm grateful that Coach Bowden, they didn't, go away or didn't give an opportunity. So, God has a plan for all of us, and when you do what you're supposed to do, people will notice, people will give you an opportunity, and you just have to take advantage of it when you do have an opportunity.
Okay, so what I want to do is fast forward to your junior year. That's when you became a first-time starter your junior year. And the thing about Florida State is that in years past, before the '92 season, you was always, independent. So now, you're an ACC member of the ACC. But I want to skip over that and just talk about, a few games from the '92 season. The Miami game, because Miami and Florida State obviously, was a rivalry, obviously, before you got there. But it was wide right 1 in '91, and then it was wide right 2 in 1992, number 2 versus number 3. And you've come up short. You lose 1916. Talk about the preparation aspect for that game as a first-time starter against Miami.
Well, the rivalry was always live and was always there, and there were always pros on the field on both sides of the ball. Whenever the offense or defense, it didn't really matter. Both teams on the field, and you knew that it was going to be very competitive. It was going to come down to whoever's going to make the most plays, like most competitive games. And so the preparation part was always the same, because when you're practicing against very similar competition. And so that part wasn't really a shocker for